Hi, everybody. So, today I'm going to talk about how we are all important. So, what is so great about today is we are all getting close to the day that is considered the fifth day in the Bible terms of creation, which would be tomorrow. And this is the day before that day. And this is basically, to my knowledge, the creation of uh, the separation of the lesser light. Like there would be a lesser light or creation of the lesser light to rule the night, and the bigger light to rule the day. So Wednesday is the day that um, is the day that created the separation of darkness and light. And now, when it comes to the Aquarius age, it's supposed to bring those two together and make a balance. So, Wednesday, you could also kind of think it as Wedding's Day, the great wedding of creation to new beginning, which is right before the Aquarius Day, which is the creation of the fowls in the air and the sea monsters of the sea and water creatures and other stuff and species of that kind connection, where they have water plants and all sorts of stuff. And so that is the Aquarius connection. And then you have Friday, which is the day that created the day of humans and land beings on the land, and basically plants and other things for their kinds. And so there you go on that front. So, and then they probably had different connections and intermatings. Who knows what happened there that created kind of hybrids and different forms of both sea and land. And so that is throughout history and throughout different timelines and different stories and different lores. And you could look at it in many different ways and be aware of it in many other ways. Really, we're all just all connected and all part of something and everything. And so it's going to get very interesting, because what is happening is we are going from a 3D reality state of knowledge and trickery, where we still were able to have abilities if we learn to tap into them. And then we're going into an age where we finally are going to be the fullness. So I bring that to start off because it shows how amazing you are. Now, why does all of the stuff I just mentioned show how amazing you are? Because you are connected to all of that. You are part of some form of it. And you are amazing in the heart. Now, one of the things about healing and manifesting destiny focus is you first have to feel that you're worthy and that you matter and that you're okay. But you have to feel it for yourself. You have to do the things you feel you should do in order to tap into that ability to do it. Now, some don't know that we have that power, but we do. And once you learn that you do, you can actually manifest destiny easily. But at first, like growing up in a church that taught about miracles and how you can pray for things and all of this, and then it being conditionalized without knowing I was conditionalizing it or being taught to conditionalize it, made me realize, you know what, there's something that's missing. There's something that we're being taught that doesn't feel right. And I always felt that way. And I was like, I keep being told to do this other thing, but I keep getting drawn to things that were trying to tell me the truth, trying to get me to eat healthier and go this other direction. But then I kind of followed what my parents and others said and trusted what their wisdom was over my own. And I just kind of went with what they said they thought and they felt was right. So I trusted them blindly. And that doesn't mean that trusting them blindly was wrong or bad, or that they were horrible for having the ideas they had to choose that path or idea, or that I did it perfectly the way that they were trying to explain it to me. The thing is they adapted and changed with what they thought. They were confused too. and everybody is, because we're taught to be confused. Everyone has been confused and pushed by these groups who actually knew, whoever those groups are. And you could say it's elites, you could say it's celebrity statuses or people with money. Not all of them knew either. Some of them are still learning it. They knew some of it, and they were doing some autopilot of it because they were raised in a way, but they were still affected too. They just had certain opportunities that were put in their lap a little bit easier because some of the ones who did know were wanting them to be in that position and helping them and influencing them to go that direction, like all of them have. Same for me, same for you, same for everybody. So we've all been conditioned to follow a certain type of atmosphere or a type of belief system or a type of social constructs that we've been told we should do. And I'm not saying that structure is wrong, because if it's structure that is bringing some form of structure to you and peace for others, and to a degree, it's okay. But when you're keeping people back from their fullness, that's not okay. Because we're all each other, and when we keep ourselves back, we're causing us to hurt ourselves. We're actually making us devolve rather than fully ascending to our full potential. When you hold someone back from their full potential, you stop someone from being able to bring world peace and healing for all, and cure for all diseases and all which is out there, which already exists and has existed. And when you realize that it's about meditation is the easiest way to do it, but there are other options. Med beds and is another option that others have said exists, and I feel that there are technology that does that. Light beds, other things are just other generations of it. But there are better forms of light beds. They even do better than the ones that we know that NASA's released and that Theta Wellness in Sandy, Utah has done, and others I've heard of do worldwide. There is technology and frequencies that other countries have done. I've heard Russia does it. I've heard China has done it, and other places. And that's why they want you to ignore China, ignore Russia, ignore those stuff, because they don't want you to know the healing power that they found out. But then those countries want to control it for themselves, and they want to do it for themselves, and they don't want this country and others to use that technology for us here, because they don't want us to be as powerful as they have become in their groups and their controls, is what they'll tell you, or what they'll think is, or they won't tell you because they don't want you to know what's really going on in the world. But it's the same with England. It's all the top rulers that know about this stuff, or at least whoever controls them that knows about it. The rich, the wealthy, they know about it. Some of them are using it, and some of them have chosen not to. But they're still doing stuff similar that gets them by. And they're okay with that. And some of them are using it, pretending that they're aging, and then they just make their own clones or own things to hide that they're still alive and they've never died. And they're young and powerful as ever. And they're just changing their names and going into what's called witness protection to be a certain way, hiding who they really are, using technology that's similar to time travel, or that is basically time travel, and going back and forth as different people because they can live a very long lifespan. Now, some of them it's because they're what's called an HCT, a humanoid extraterrestrial. Some of them are ultra-terrestrials and different, and some of them are all of it. And so fifth density beings, whatever you want to call it, whatever it is, there is something to it, and we all could be in a Matrix program, and they could just be non-playable characters that rule the system, where they can't be played because they are the ones that control everything. They are the controllers, and maybe they are being played by another form of themselves that's controlling that form, that knows that they are controlled by themselves. and that they're free to control the whole system. Could be an avatar of that type of form. So why do I bring this up in this video? Well, I need to give you an explanation to let you be aware of that all of these groups don't need to be looked at as being frustrated over them or upset about them doing what they're doing. What we need to do is realize that we are powerful and that we individually are just as amazing as they know they are. But we are just as amazing as them, but we also are a lot more about everybody being amazing. They have their purpose for only being the ones that wanted to be amazing, and maybe it's changing now, and they're realizing that they are one with us, or they already knew and they just wanted to see how long it would take for us to do it, and then they will start acting like they're part of us. But really what it is we're all here for a purpose. Maybe we were trapped here, maybe we lost our memories for a purpose because they caused it, because another form they tricked us or whatever, and that would make you mad or upset, right? Well, that's what they want us to be. They want us to be confused, upset, mad, to go at them and send that same energy at them because they have the power to snuff it out, because they already are that energy and they feed off of it and they are okay with it. But they also can balance and do their own thing, because some of them are that way, the real ones, the more powerful ones. Yet because they've chosen to cause all this chaos and cause all this suppression, they've tapped into the wrong frequency and the low vibe connections to do so, causing them to fail because they aren't healing themselves. Now they crack their shell, even if they haven't noticed it. And the reason why is because that vibration of doing those things causes harm and neglect, and it will cause harm for causing neglect to me and others, for allowing a system that affects a piece of themselves. Once we're all healed, it heals them and makes them stronger, and all of us stronger equally. And so instead of pushing us down and hurting us, when we heal each other, it's like we become a lot more faster, we think a lot more clearer, and we're a lot more loving. Instead of being a facade and pretending, and we start being honest and open, we become the fullness of ourselves. And it really frees us. Now, I never thought that until after the end of 2019, where I finally healed because of that. So what I'm going to start doing now for my other videos is I am going to, and maybe even this one a little bit as well, is I'm going to start to focus on manifesting destiny. Just doing it, just blessing it. From all the teachings that I had from 2015, where I started doing my own vision boards, and then I've changed it since then, as I realized I would need more to do the system that's required. But then I realized, for myself, to take care of my needs and others and have a family and do those things, to recorrect or work through the metal that's been put in my back and leg and other things, so that I can finally be the fullness that I really desire to be. So another thing is, what I realized is everybody, to get into the mode of manifesting, you have to first feel, even if it's hard for you to feel it, that you are amazing. And so I'm going to do my best to do that. But if I'm not doing that enough, you should do it for you too, because you are amazing. So what it is you first build yourself up to think, well, why am I so awesome? Why am I so amazing? Why am I so abundant? Why am I so rich and wealthy and healthy? Why am I all these things that I desire to be? Why am I supposed to see myself as those things already? Why am I that way? Why am I healthy? Why do girls throw themselves at me if that's what I want for me? Or why does my soulmate come to me so fast? Why does she show up in my life? You talk about things in a why question way, helps get to one way of doing it. Another thing is, you can also tell yourself, I am amazing, I am awesome, but why are you so awesome? Because you have grace power within you and always a part of you. Your whole aura is you. It's a part of you. It doesn't matter what people say your aura is or what they see it as. What do you see your aura as? What do you want your aura to be? And start being that aura. And even if it doesn't seem like that, or people don't see that with you, or they try to do cards and they tell you all your insecurities from those cards, that's part of the psyop. Others don't realize that we've been taught to psyop ourselves through tarot cards and oracle cards and all these different things, telling us what our weaknesses and our strengths are, which we already know what our weaknesses are. We already know what our struggles are. We already know what's happening to us. Some don't want to hear that over and over. We're done with that. We've been abused too many times to go through focusing on that, because we matter. And so once we start crying things out, so when we start loving ourselves to the point where we even cry in our heart or even fully, that's okay. So in my new future videos, I don't know if this is going to happen or not, but it might. You might see me crying. You might see me get to the point which I usually never get to because I don't cry that often. And it's just, I was born with not being able to cry. I was a strong baby, but because I went through so much pain in the womb, development-wise, and then I broke a lot of bones growing up. They had to teach me to cry, and I hardly cry, but it doesn't mean that I don't feel sadness. I do. Like, just because someone doesn't cry doesn't mean they don't feel. And that's the misconception, is because some people have been classified as psychopaths, saying that they have no feeling or thought or recognition, and usually it's just because someone's dyslexic or autistic or ADHD connected. For me, I used to be ADHD. I realized that I could have been autistic growing up, because when I had my back surgery, they had to do 3 pints of blood. In the studies, when you give blood transfusions like that for surgery or whatever, they say that that changes them into an ADHD state, possibly from their autism state, which is still similar to autism and connected to some form of dyslexic that people have not classified correctly. Because we stand up and then we try to fit in, or we try to get people to pay attention to us in whatever way we can get them to pay attention, because we have an issue, but no one's listening to that issue. So we've had to talk or say things in another way that people say we do to get our way, is what I was told in the past. And it's like, well, I saw that I was doing that, and I realized, you know what, that's not the way to do it. Because once I started following why I was doing it, it was because I was taught to do it in my religion. And the religion doesn't notice they're teaching you to do it, but some of them know they are. They're doing a form of gaslighting, a form of putting yourself down if you don't follow a certain way, or if you do a certain action or sin. If you do a certain type of thing, such as if you choose to masturbate, or if you choose to do any kind of sexual sin or sexual innuendo of any kind, then you are a sinner. Now, I'm only bringing this up because it needs to be brought up, because it is something that is traumatic, and it affects your emotions on whether doing that is okay or not okay. And everybody has their own opinions, both medically and non-medically, about that. Some of us say that it does affect you for ascension purposes of getting there, and it could mess with your vibrations. But see, saying that doesn't mean that it will do that, but there is some form of connection possibility to that. At the same time, eating a lot of high vibe food and doing those things to help you is okay. And so we all have our urges, our decisions, and it's about, well, what is it we feel we need to do ourselves? And some would say experiment or whatever. I don't really want to bring that idea up, because even though I just kind of did, but I didn't really mean to. It's just an explanation to get you to be aware that we don't want to experiment with any forms of neurology or smoke or things that can mess with your lungs and your organs. A lot of these medicinals that people think is medicinals or whatever aren't natural, and they can cloud your throat and your nose. And if they're not natural stuff, they can cloud or cause harm. And smoking, any form of smoking, even sage or even oils, is burning them. It's causing them to turn into a toxic form of substance. Some of it, they say it helps you clear your mind if you're using cannabis oil or things like that. But here's what I feel. If you're going to do anything, I would recommend to do diffusers. Don't smoke it. Have it diffused in water. Have it heat up in the water that way. And then have it in your air that way. Because smoking and doing these things can do things to your lungs and your organs, and it can clog them. And depending on your blood type and your blood species, your species or form, it can mess with your way of thinking, and thinking that you're very intelligent, thinking quicker and stuff, and really you're drugging your mind and slowing yourself down. You may feel enlightened and you may see many trippy things, but you can do that with natural food and eating. You can eat certain things, and then it can develop your mind to do those kind of things with the natural foods and the natural mushroom foods and things that aren't drugs, that are actually just plants, that are natural plants that are healthy and are very good for you and actually enhance your abilities rather than making you think that you're enhanced and that you're tripping out to other dimensions and worlds. Now, if you are going to those other dimensions and worlds, great. Do what you feel you want to do. I'm letting you know that this is about your heart. This is about knowing that some individuals like me and others, we're unable to do those things because when we've done any form of being around people that do it, not us doing it, because I never did it. I never smoked or drank. Anything that was around me was do it. The closest I probably would have done to any form of alcohol is if it was put into cooked food, like in TV dinners where I didn't know that the cheese had maybe rum type cooked into it, or other things that was from a TV dinner or something that my parents bought or accidentally got or something I noticed, or things like that. That's the closest I probably ever got to. But now that I'm a vegan and a raw vegan, I don't do anything close to those things, because a lot of those things were genetically altered. Genetic mechanics, GMO, is genetic modified organism or genetic mechanics. And I go for the raw high vibe stuff. Genetic mechanics can be manipulated, and who knows what people are doing with them and the frequencies and stuff. Even those that are doing genetic mechanics, some of them that are young in the process or in certain companies don't know what other companies have done with it, and that even their company has done with it that they aren't privy to know about. And that's the problem, is you're taught only compartmentalized information, and you need to do your research to know deeply about the foods, about what you've been eating, about what you've been told to eat and put together. And the only reason why I caught on to all of this is because I got drawn to people who worked at the Pentagon, told me things, and they got beat up and blinded for letting people know about it. And then they followed their selective religion belief ideas that they know are kind of conditional, but they've been kind of brainwashed to follow that idea, in my opinion. But I think they're doing what they feel isn't a brainwash to them, that they feel is right to them. But it's all a psyop. They're all being psyoped. We're all being psyoped to follow a certain pattern of how to do something. So for me, I've always had to find out what works and what doesn't. And the reason why I had to is because I kept doing what other people told me would be okay to do. Oh, you won't break your leg. Oh, this won't happen to you. And I said, I've done it several times, and I have. And they're like, oh, well, no, it's not broken. Oh, and then I go to the doctor. Yeah, it's broken. Yeah, it's this. Yeah, it's like, well, I felt it. I knew it was happening. And so there's got to be a way so that I don't have that happen. Oh, well, you got to strengthen this and that. Okay, strengthen. Oh, now it's broken again. Well, now it's because you got to eat this. Oh, I ate that and that. Oh, now it caused other problems. oh, well, now we just don't know what to do. And so now everybody's like, well, what? I don't know. What? It's your attitude. It's the way that, and I'm like, you know what? My attitude is positive. I always trusted that it would work, and I believed in it, and I tried it and worked, and it was difficult, but they were pushing me to the degree that it could. And I realized what was missing is everyone was putting the right attitude that it will work, the belief that it can, but it was because of what was being used to try to help me. It wasn't natural. It was unnatural. It was suppression type stuff. It wasn't full healing type knowledge. So then I got drawn to non-medicine knowledge of blessing things and healing and eating right. When I got drawn to those individuals that taught that, even if they were conditionalized in different beliefs or ideas, they knew the pieces that I needed, and I found the whole pieces. And the scriptures and ancient texts talk about when you go to the inner self within your inner being and you just bless it into being, that is how you heal your reality. So you can bless things into being by just going in the inner self and knowing that you already are that which you already desire to be. You already are complete. That's it. And when you do that with an unconditional love focus, thinking that it is, thinking that it already is, just like I did in the previous videos, you focus and you create that action. So what I want you to know is you are amazing. You are so awesome. You're more powerful than anybody has ever taught you. And if anybody has taught you, that's awesome. They're awesome for teaching you that. And those that didn't teach you it, they were awesome for you learning what not to do. Okay? But it doesn't mean that they're bad for choosing to do what they thought was right and what they thought is the way to do it, even if they knew that it wasn't, even if they secretly knew that it wasn't. But we don't know that. And even if we think we know that, we can't judge them that way. We got to forgive that. We got to put that to the side, because the way to do the technique that really works is to put judgments aside, fears aside, and bless all. That's it. Blessing you and blessing the circumstance and blessing all who caused you to get to where you are at now. And to bless all timelines and others that still have the chance to do what they can in theirs, so that they can have better opportunities as well. And they can bless it too. And we can heal all our past, future, and present in all realities that may exist or could exist. And if they do, wouldn't we want that? If we didn't want that, why wouldn't we want that? So that's the thing. You got to decide, what is it you really want? What is it you really desire? And then decide, what matters to me? What do I want in my life? How can I get it? What would I be comfortable doing to get it? And then you have to decide what is true to you. What matters to you? What is it, and why do you feel that it's true? Why do you have belief in it? Is it because others told you it is? Have you done your research to know whether it's really telling you the truth or tricking you? That's another thing. You want to know that even if it's tricking you, if you're okay doing it, then you follow it. And don't beat yourself up or feel saddened if you aren't perfect at doing exactly the way that you feel you should be doing it in. And if you feel like people within the groups that you're in are keeping you from the full potential you are, you need to do the full you on your terms in a safe manner for you and for others all around you. Not manipulating others, not trying to coerce or think that others are trying to, or that I or anybody wants that. We want you to follow your path and your heart, and you matter. You're amazing. You have greatness in you. So you have been able to do many things. And every time you have been kicked down, you got back up in some way. And maybe if you got harmed with me, there was times that I got kicked down and I broke, and I had to remend. And that's happened several times. I've had to also realize that I have metal on my back in certain things, so working a regular job would actually cause the harm. Until I find a way to heal it through fully, it could paralyze me or brain dead me, and I noticed, and I met someone that had that happen to her, and she tried to tell them the same thing I tried telling my doctors, and she said that they didn't listen, and then she did one little thing and it paralyzed her, and she was feeling the same way I was feeling. So she told me, be careful and be aware of that. And another doctor who did have back surgery like me also told me the same thing and knew what I could relate with because they had back surgery just like I did. They had metal, and they said, yeah, if you're feeling that, then don't do it. Do what is matter and be honest and open to all those that are physicians and those that don't know better, because they don't know unless they've gone through it and unless they know about heavy metal as long as you have and have the same blood type or the same experiences you've dealt with. But it is about healing yourself, and it is about correcting what's going on in your body and system. So for future videos, what I'm going to do is I might do some explanations like this, but I want to start blessing the way that I feel we should bless things into being. I might do tuning forks if I feel drawn to at times, but if any of you want me to do a specific type of video that I'm comfortable doing, if you ask me to do something I don't feel comfortable doing, I'll say, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. But if there's something that I would be okay with doing that doesn't compromise my needs of health, of what I eat and what I go for that I know has helped me, then let me know, and I will tell you whether I'm willing to do that video or not, and then I'll do that video. And I might just do the video and then tell you that I just did, so that you know if I feel okay to do that. Because I want everybody to be loved and appreciated equally in the way that they feel comfortable for themselves, so that they have the support that they feel is okay for them. But if you're trying to go above your religious leaders and you're going towards me, and you're part of a different religious connection than what I'm about really no religion, but I'm my own minister so that I can help marry and be there for others that desire that. But if you're part of a religion, by the agreements of being willing or able to do those things, I'm obligated to let you know that you need to first talk to your minister that you're under. But if you don't want to be part of that, then you need to find ways to get out of it, and then you can come to me or others if you feel, or I would need to talk to them, and they would need to talk to me to discuss what they're okay with me helping you in. Because there are rules to some agreements of religions that go by that. So I'm just letting you know that if you're going to go by my advice, some religious groups don't want you to. And they try to gaslight you and me if we do something they don't want you to do. Just so you know. So bless you all, and take care.